It's been seen as one of the greatest love stories of the 20th century. The king who gave up his crown for the woman he loved.
That I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility without the help and support of the woman I love.
To the world, the story went that it was impossible for Edward VIII, as head of the Church of England, to marry Wallis Simpson, an American who had been twice divorced. Declassified FBI files show that the abdication crisis was more about naked political intrigue than affairs of the heart.
I've seen the FBI files for the Windsors, and some of those reports are really damning.
That whilst Edward was courting Wallis Simpson, she was having affairs with other men, including a prominent Nazi official. That Edward was a Nazi sympathizer who wanted to keep Britain out of the war at almost any cost. That Winston Churchill saw the couple as such a threat, he forced them into virtual exile. That during the war, Hitler saw Edward as having a future role in a Nazi-controlled Britain.
Hitler would have made him a sort of puppet king. God knows what would have happened after that.
These alarming files reveal to what extent the British and American government saw this couple as a major threat to national security, and they reveal the extraordinary lengths they went to keep them out of harm's way. Britain has been waging war against Nazi Germany for a year and a half. Winston Churchill is desperate for the United States to join the Allies. President Roosevelt is sympathetic, but he knows the American people need a lot of persuading. They both fear that their plans for an alliance could be jeopardized by the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. They're outspoken, pro-German, and about to set foot in Miami. Roosevelt instructs the FBI to spy on the most famous couple in the world.
Roosevelt knows that they're dangerous, and he has the FBI follow them about and intercept their mail, and there's a very large security operation.
To the public, they couldn't be more glamorous. To the authorities, they couldn't be more dangerous.
He'd always admired Hitler. He was, frankly, very pro-Nazi.
In America, there is a powerful lobby against joining the war. Churchill can ill afford any negative publicity from the Windsors. So on their arrival in Miami, a PR man is assigned to muzzle any remarks they might make.
And the Duchess and I are naturally very glad to set foot in America again.
So every move they make is monitored. Even their dry cleaning is inspected. Now, FBI files running to 227 pages have been released under the Freedom of Information Act.
For some time, the British government has known that the Duchess of Windsor was exceedingly pro-German in her sympathies and connections, and there is strong reason to believe that this is the reason why she was considered so obnoxious to the British government. They refused to permit Edward to marry her and maintain the throne.
The FBI were fed their information on the Windsors from British intelligence, who in 1935 had taken the unprecedented step of following the couple. The Duke was then the Prince of Wales and heir to the throne. Through their surveillance, they uncovered the fact that Wallis was introducing the heir to the throne to a range of unsavory characters. Among them, the scandalous socialite Lady Emerald Cunard. Through Lady Cunard, Prince Edward was introduced to Sir Oswald Mosley, leader of the British Union of Fascists who were causing riots across London.
Edward inquired as to how many supporters Mosley had for his British Union of Fascists.
But there were far more dangerous fascists who were only too eager to meet the prince and especially his new lover. Through Lady Cunard, Edward and Wallis were introduced to an ambitious German diplomat called Joachim von Ribbentrop. Hitler had appointed Ribbentrop to be Germany's special envoy to Great Britain, with the task of building a strong alliance between the two countries. And according to the FBI files, it wasn't long before von Ribbentrop and Wallace started an affair. This is confirmed in an interview given to the FBI by a close German relative of Edward's, Duke Karl Alexander of Württemberg, who had become a priest.
He knew definitely that von Ribbentrop, while in England, sent the then Wallace Simpson 17 carnations every day. The 17 supposedly represented the number of times they'd slept together.
There were widespread rumors that they were romantically involved, and I don't think it's possible to prove that was the case, but that was certainly the buzz in these circles.
What is clear from the FBI files is that Wallace would stay in contact with Ribbentrop for many years to come, and this would prove invaluable to Hitler, who would now set about forging a link with Prince Edward, the heir to the British throne.
Hitler was trying to develop a relationship with Edward with the goal of ultimately manipulating him, using him to form this Anglo-German alliance.
Wallace's continuing relationship with Ribbentrop would prove to be dangerous. Ribbentrop would rise quickly through the ranks, becoming Hitler's foreign minister. Prince Edward's affair with Wallace Simpson would lead him to sacrifice his crown and be ostracized from the royal family. These newly released FBI files show how close he would come to betraying his country. Unlike his father, George V, Prince Edward liked to travel. One of his earliest trips was to Germany in 1913, where there were close family ties.
The family saw themselves as German. They were very comfortable speaking German at home, and Edward on several occasions referred to German as his mother language, as his Muttersprache.
But in 1917, Edward's father, George V, changed the family name from Saxe-Coburg-Gotha to Windsor.
This was an attempt to make the family appear more English, and of course they fabricated the name of Windsor. They took it from one of their castles, and it's purely invented.
Wallace Simpson was born Bessie Wallace Warfield in Pennsylvania in 1896.
You could say she was a gold digger. I mean, she was one of those women who can only see their way through marriages to rich men.
Twice married, Wallace is believed to have once had an affair with Count Galeazzo Ciano, later to become Mussolini's son-in-law. It's believed she became pregnant by him and had an abortion which left her unable to conceive. Wallace became Edward's mistress while she was still married to her second husband, Ernest Simpson. In 1935, the intimacy of an American divorcee to the heir to the throne drew the attention of Special Branch. But they weren't the only party who could see the power Wallace Simpson wielded over the prince. Hitler too could see an opportunity to get close to Edward by using his envoy von Ribbentrop to cultivate his relationship with Wallace.
When he saw the heir to the throne as someone who could potentially be manipulated, Hitler really devoted a great deal of interest and energy in this regard.
Hitler had long seen the impressionable heir to the throne as a useful ally, and now this relationship would become highly valuable to Germany. On January the 20th, 1936, King George V died. The Prince of Wales now became King Edward VIII. On the day of his ascension, the German ambassador, Leopold von Hirsch, wrote to Berlin.
He feels warm sympathy for Germany. I am convinced that his friendly attitude towards Germany might in time come to exercise a certain amount of influence on the shaping of British foreign policy.